I'm Sam Ravech, and this is My Bracket. This episode of My Bracket is presented by Ram Trucks. All right, let's start out in Eugene, Oregon. James Madison has never played a game west of the state of Utah. They have to fly 3,000 miles out to play one of the hottest teams in the country in the Oregon Ducks. Questions on the offensive line for Oregon in this game, but I think that they will be overmatching a team in James Madison that won the Sun Belt. Congratulations on the Dukes to make it. I think this is where their road ends. So I will take Oregon to advance to play Texas Tech in the quarterfinals. We go down to the 9-8 matchup with Alabama and Oklahoma. This was a rematch from earlier in the year, one of two rematches we have in the first round with Tulane and Ole Miss. Oklahoma went to Nick Saban Field and won that game close. It was an ugly win, but I do think that Alabama will get revenge going to Oklahoma. I think the Tide will win and face off Indiana in the quarterfinals. Tulane and Ole Miss, another rematch from earlier in the year. Ole Miss won this game 45-10. This was the worst passing game of the season for Jake Retzloff, the quarterback for Tulane. Ole Miss's quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss, had a coming-out party in this game. He threw for over 300 yards, and he ran for a season-high 112. I think we will see more of the same in this rematch. Ole Miss wins the party in the Grove. They also win the first-round game against the Tulane Green Wave. Miami didn't think they were going to be in the playoff, or at least everybody outside of South Beach didn't think Miami would be in. Now that they are in, they are facing Texas A&M in Aggieland. Now, Marcel Reed and company have been a little bit questionable down the stretch of the season. Marcel Reed has been good earlier in the season, but I can't really get that South Carolina game out of my head. So I'm going to go with Miami to win this game on the road. Carson Beck cannot turn the ball over in this game. If he does, this will not be the result. So we've got Miami taking on Ohio State in the quarterfinals. Let's move to the quarterfinals here. Oregon and Texas Tech. This game could easily be a semifinal game. I have some questions about Oregon and their coaching staff. Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, both leaving after this season is over. Texas Tech continuity. They spent $7 million on that defensive line, and we saw what that did to BYU, not once, but twice in the Big 12 this year. I'm going to take Texas Tech to win this game, advance to the semifinals. Alabama and Indiana. Now, we know Curt Cignetti likes a good matchup. This is a heavyweight matchup. He's taken down Ohio State. That was one of the pelts that he wanted to put up on the wall in the Big Ten. Now he's got a chance to put another one up in the form of the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I think that he gets the job done. Indiana and Texas Tech will meet in the semifinals. We go down to the lower half of the bracket with Ole Miss and Georgia. Another rematch from earlier in the year. Georgia took care of business against Ole Miss the first time. I think with the Lane Kiffin situation and Charlie Weiss coming back and coaching this team, I just think that Georgia has been a wagon over the last couple of weeks. Their defense hasn't let their opponents score more than 10 points in each of the last 3 games. I'm going to go with the Georgia Bulldogs to win once again. Miami and Ohio State. I think Ohio State might have taken and learned some lessons from that loss in the Big Ten championship game. This is where the road comes to an end for Miami, I think. Let's take Ohio State to face off against the Georgia Bulldogs in the semifinal. Now, Texas Tech and Indiana, Georgia and Ohio State. I asked this question on one of our shows, but would we be okay with these 4 teams just being in the playoff and getting rid of the 12-team playoff? It's funny what happens when we look at hindsight. It's 2020, as they say. Texas Tech and Indiana. I love what both of these teams have done this year. Indiana just seems like at the moment they are unbeatable. And until I see somebody give them a really, really good test, I know Ohio State did it, but Indiana just feels ready. They're always ready for that next matchup. I'm going to take Indiana to take down Texas Tech and advance to the national championship game. I'm going to go with the Georgia Bulldogs to advance and take on Indiana in the national championship game. The Georgia Bulldogs have won back-to-back SEC championships. Their lone loss this year was to Alabama at home. And while they didn't look great in that game, since that point early on in the season, I don't think that there are many teams that have looked better than Georgia. Indiana is one of those teams. I'm going to take Indiana to win the national championship over the Georgia Bulldogs in Miami this year. Indiana is my national champion. Don't forget to make your bracket picks at espn.com/CFP challenge. Thank you for watching My Bracket presented by Ram Trucks.